بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيد الأنبياء والمرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين أما بعد. We usually try to utilize these few minutes before the Jummah khutbah to answer any questions. We've received a number of questions at different times. I try to give preference to those who are present, so if anybody does have any questions, inshallah, I will try to use this opportunity to address them. If not, I get questions all the time, so I can always share some of the problems and issues that we are facing in the community. So if anybody has any questions, inshallah. Yes, تفضل يا أخي.
What's the exact timing of the Jummah prayer?
The timing of the Jummah prayer. So it's a very good question. So there is a difference of opinion amongst the scholars. There is an agreement amongst all the madhahib that the time for Jummah is Dhuhr time, right? This is agreement on. Then you have two additional differences of opinion amongst two different madhahib. The first of them are the Malikis. The Malikis, they actually allow the Jummah to extend into the Asr time, right? So that's one opinion. And then you have the Hanbali opinion. The Hanbali opinion says that it actually starts at Dhuha time. So when does Dhuha time start? It starts after Shuruq. So once the sun has cleared the horizon. So if this is the sunrise, right? This is Fajr time, right? For those that don't know, right? So this is Fajr time. When the sun gets here, Fajr time is over, right? Once the sun clears the horizon, over here now, this is still Muharram. It's still not a time to pray. You can't pray at this time. When the sun gets here, right? It's cleared the horizon completely. At this point, it is permissible to pray, and this is called Ishraq if we make it in the masjid. Once it gets to this point, this is the beginning, Ishraq or Duha. So from this time all the way until Asr, for the madhab, in the Hanbali madhab, this is why this is considered the Jummah time. And this is exceptional only for Jummah. A lot of this is based on the hadith of Jabir radiallahu anh, where he said that we would pray and the sun was at its height. So some scholars, they understood that the height meaning zawal, right, when the sun is at its peak, and some of them understood, say no, that this is actually the end of Dhuhr time, that was being spoken about in the hadith. So there's a little bit of a difference of opinion on that. But this is why you'll find, not just at Al-Hijrah, but a number of masajid, they'll actually make the Jummah prayer before Dhuhr time. And I think culturally we're not as comfortable making Jummah into the Asr time, which is why they allow it. Many of the masajid, they'll allow it before. But even the madhahib, they talk about multiple Jummahs, and they say it's haram, right? They say it's not permissible to have multiple Jummahs. But the reason we have it is because we have logistical problems, right? We just don't have the space to host everybody in one Jummah. So what did they come up with? They said, okay, let's start multiple Jummahs. This was one solution. And after they started multiple Jummahs, they're like, okay, when do we make it, right? What time do we make all of these Jummahs? And some khatibs, their khutbahs are very long. Some khatibs, their khutbahs are short, and sometimes it becomes difficult to kind of control the amount of time for them. So I think culturally what has happened, especially here in the United States, is that everybody was more comfortable taking the Hanbali opinion, even though most people are not Hanbali, right? And they'll take the Hanbali opinion because of convenience. And they say, okay, we're going to start the Jummah before Dhuhr, which is why we have a number of khutbahs and a number of salawat before Jummah time. So, and Allah knows best. Ameen. Tafadhal.
When it's rain, you make Jama' or salawat.
Yes.
How about when it's very heat and the hot?
Zain.
No, I'm not looking at
No, that's a good question. So the question is about combining during inclement weather. Right? So, and again, you have a spectrum of opinions concerning the inclement weather. The most conservative of them is the Hanafi madhab. And when do you actually combine? So in the Hanafi madhab, combining is extremely limited circumstances where they will combine. And even when they do combine, they say that the combination can only happen toward the end of the salat time. Meaning that you can pray when Dhuhr is ending and Asr is beginning. So you're combining, it's not really combining, right? You're praying at the end of one time and you're praying at the beginning of the other time. So they say that this is something that's allowed. Then the other madhahib have different conditions on when you can combine. So the Shafi'is and the Malikis, they say that you can only combine Maghrib and Isha. That's it. You can only combine Maghrib and Isha. Due to inclement weather, the Hanbalis, they say that you can combine any prayer that's combinable, right? So the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he combined while he was traveling, he combined Dhuhr and Asr, and he combined Maghrib and Isha. So qiyasan, out of analogy, they said, okay, that can apply. If I can pray Maghrib and Isha and combine them, and the Prophet ﷺ did this, by analogy, it is okay to pray them at the Dhuhr time, which is why you'll find a number of masajid, not everyone, but a number of masajid, when it is raining, that they will combine those prayers. And even in the Hanbali madhab, it's the most lenient. You will find even in the Hanbali books that says even when it's muddy outside, right? It doesn't even need to be raining. It can just be inconvenient, right? It could be inconvenient for the people to come to the masjid, and because of the inconvenience, it is permissible to combine. A lot of people, they'll be like, oh, this is not a reason to combine, or why are we combining? Yeah, Habibi, nobody's forcing you to pray, right? The idea for the masjid, what is the purpose of the masjid? That the Salatul Jama'ah is a khidmah. Like the Salatul Jama'ah is a service, it's a community service. There is no madhab, and I want to be very clear in this, there's no madhab that says that when you combine the prayers, that you still don't host the prayer at its time. Does that make sense? Yeah, meaning, if at Al-Hijrah we combine Dhuhr and Asr, we still have to host Asr prayer. Okay? If we combine Maghrib and Isha, we still have to host Isha prayer. All the madhahib say this. Why? Because if wadifat Salat al-Jama'ah khidmah, if the purpose of the Salat al-Jama'ah, of the congregational prayer, is a service, we have to continue providing the service. And even if we do combine, what is the purpose of combining? To make it easier for the people. That's it. Who decides what's difficult and easy? The individual, right? The individual. The imam, he can provide the option, right? That's the most the imam can do. I can provide, as leading the jama'ah, I can provide the option to the congregation. It's up to you to decide, do I want to take this option or not? So sometimes when prayer is combined, you'll see people walking away. Is that a problem? No, it's not a big deal. And there are people who are going to pray. Again, it's not a big deal. Ya ikhwan, these are the ways that we develop tolerance in the community. Right? Because some people will pray and some people won't. And another example of this, during the time of the Prophet ﷺ, they said that when we were traveling in Ramadan, some of us would be fasting and some of us would not. And the ones who were fasting said nothing to the ones who weren't. And the ones who didn't said nothing to the ones who were. This is ukhuwah. This is what true brotherhood is. And it's amazing to me, like, you know, when prayers are combined because of rain, inclement weather, even heat, right? Well, the Shafi'i madhab mentions it very specifically. All of these are reasons to combine, to provide a service to the community. Why am I criticizing the people who are taking advantage of the rukhsah, who are taking advantage of the service? And I should not criticize the people who don't want to. They're not comfortable. At the end of the day, my dhamir, my heart is going to dictate to me what I'm comfortable doing and what I'm not comfortable doing. I cannot dictate that onto others. وبالله التوفيق. بارك الله فيك.